puts me from my winter hell. I've got candles and candy, I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row, try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow way down below. Oh, it's a lot of woe, and that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you now to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true, 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 true,
Hello. I have no idea what happened because it was telling me on Streamlabs that I needed to still end the stream. So I was like, what happened? And I don't have any like I don't have an email from YouTube or anything. I have no idea what happened. But it seems to be fine now. So welcome back, everybody. What a load of crap. I'm so sorry that happened. We're almost done. And then this one won't be like super long, just because I just want to get to the end of this. So let me fix this title really quick on this last one. I don't appreciate that. That's rude and disrespectful. But let me give it a little bit for people to come in. I don't know ATS News. It is a YouTube thing. YouTube cut me off, not Streamlabs. And and I have no email from YouTube. There's no restriction. I'm looking at my studio. There's no like restriction. There's nothing. Nothing. I have nothing at all. So there you go. All right. Maybe YouTube is like, you know what? I wonder if these people are actually paying attention to her. How many people are in the chat that are actually still watching? let me end the stream and we'll see. I don't know what they were doing. Who knows? But let's have a little, just a little something. We need a little something. Here we go.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
We're all fine now. We're all fine. How are you? So yeah, like there's no there's nothing, there's no issue. So here we are. We're all back. We're all fine. We're going to listen to the last teeny tiny bit of what it is. But yeah. ATS. Yeah. Oh, here, Daisy, let me give it to you again. Here you go. Also, if you go to my channel and like the main channel and like the home page of my channel, and you click on the about section, there all my links are there too, but there's my email for you. So there you go. All you got to do is click the link right there and you can email me and I'll check it. I'm not going to say that I'm going to check it as soon as I get off the stream. It's 11 o'clock here. I'm tired. I've been up since early this morning. No, you're good, Daisy. It's fine. Don't worry about it, babe. Just, sorry, now I'm choking. But yeah. Whew. Anywho, I'm tired. So I might not, I will answer you in the morning though, because I'm going to get up early and I'll have my coffee and I will read your email and I will respond. I usually am pretty good at getting back, but I know to be on the lookout for it. Okay. Now, let me just go back like right here and play from here and then we'll talk. I am so sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what that was about. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you guys for coming back. I appreciate it.
So she can get on those now. I guess she runs the risk if she's on those and those are interpreted as annoying or harassing, although I will say that's a fairly high bar in the sense of just because somebody says something you don't like, that's not going to be a violation of a stalking injunction. And there would have to be directed comments that were clearly meant for a specific purpose. Yeah, there was, in obtaining the order, petitioner made some allegations that she had strong belief that she was in immediate danger in relation again to the crime con that was in Denver, Colorado. Now, as to the work environment, it does sound like the parties may attend similar.
Wait a minute. Did y'all hear that? Let me just back the milk truck up slightly. Go right. No. Right. Fuck. Let's try right about here.
There was, in obtaining the order, petitioner made some allegations that she had strong belief that she was in immediate danger in relation again to the crime con that was in Denver, Colorado.
We don't know what happened. It's good. Thank you guys for, hey Jude, hey Kimberly, welcome back in. Hey, True Crime in a Minute. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome in. It's good to have. No, you guys. No, I don't know what happened. It was a glitch in the matrix. Totally not anybody's fault. It's just, one of those things, YouTube be YouTubing. But I forgot. Okay. That's really important. She went to get the ex parte specifically for CrimeCon. That is what he just said. He said that she made representations that she was in imminent danger, specifically related to CrimeCon. No, I just yeah. um, but yeah, that the ex parte was for CrimeCon. That's it. I mean, I know I've heard this audio before. Okay, this is not my first time hearing the courtroom audio, but I don't know why I'm floored by this. Right? Why not just stay home and be safe? You knew she was going to be there. You knew she was. You knew she was. You knew she was. This was, I mean, yes. Could she argue that it was a quote unquote work function? Yes, she could. If her channel is her work, okay? And by going and attending CrimeCon, she engages with potential um, other businesses who might want to sponsor her channel, etc. Meeting, just being on like Podcasters Row and talking to the people that are there to attend the Crime Con that are true crime enthusiasts or whatever. Yes, but if Christina's job is that she photographs and also has done graphic design for specifically YouTube, true crime YouTube creators, which that is what it sounds like she did for Lauren, then the same can be said of her, that CrimeCon is also a work function. And then you have on top of it, the fact, and I know that um, after the stalking injunction was granted, and this is why people are um, oh wow. True Crime in a Minute says, I saw Lauren at CrimeCon, had zero idea any of this was going on. She left one breakout session early and seemed to hide her face when leaving. I didn't think anything of it at the time. You guys know what I did? So I covered um, Brian Koberger's sentencing. And I got your email. So I covered Brian Koberger's sentencing hearing. And so after the sentencing hearing was done, there was a press conference. So I switched from streaming. I think I was streaming from Court TV. Yeah. And I switched over to streaming from AP, the Associated Press. Okay. But it was Allie came up and we were looking at pictures and stuff. So I watched a little bit of that stream I did today, just that part of it. And then um I went to the AP's YouTube channel and I watched their stream of the area where the press conference was going to be taking place, because the press conference and the press conference is, and the asking if they could sit next to one of them is what precipitated the situation that occurred at the restaurant at dinner. Okay. And so I went back and looked at that footage, you guys. There's nothing there. Now, in her affidavit and in her police report from Boise, both Grayson and Lauren said that L yelled at them. There was no kerfuffle, okay? Because if there had been a kerfuffle, even if the camera didn't pan to the oops, I didn't mean to hit my mic. I'm sorry for everybody who's wearing earbuds. If there had been a kerfuffle, a yelling situation, okay, even if the camera didn't pan over to what was going on, the people the camera was pointed at the back of people's heads because they were filming from behind, obviously looking at the podium. And if there had been a kerfuffle, right, people would have turned their heads. The camera may not have moved, but the people would have moved, and they didn't. So whatever happened, whatever actually happened in that press conference room was not yelling. And that's a problem. To exaggerate in a police report, this is your report. These are your words. She wrote these words. They wrote these words. It's their handwriting. That's a problem. That's a problem. And as Christina's attorney pointed out, Lauren getting the ex parte, being at the ex parte hearing, being granted a temporary hearing. First of all, you don't get an ex parte hearing automatically. You apply for a stalking injunction. You can request a temporary hearing. Right, you can request a temporary injunction. You can request to have an ex parte hearing, which is what Lauren did. And she used the Boise incident where Christina wasn't even in the damn country, no, much less, much less at that dinner. Yes, after the fact, she made a TikTok about it. She did. I would have. I mean, I don't know if I would have too, but I mean, that has nothing to do with stalking. Like that's ridiculous. Hang on just a second. I got it, babe. Oh, I try. I try to acknowledge everybody, Daisy. I try. I try. Sometimes if I'm on another screen, it's hard for me to get in to see everybody in the moment, but I do try to acknowledge everybody because, um, I bet it is true crime in a minute. I bet it is interesting to look at to think back on that day and now understand what was going on. Um, I just think this whole thing went way too far. I'm not saying that Lauren doesn't have legal remedies available to her, and I'm not saying that Christina doesn't have legal remedies available to her, but a stalking and harassment injunction ain't it. She wasn't being stalked. That's not stalking in any sense of the word. I know that when people hear me say that's not stalking, they might think, well, she thinks that you have to physically stalk. No, I don't. I don't think that. One of the parts of stalking in Utah has to do with directly and indirectly, like working in concert with others to you know bully and harass. It's very difficult to bully and harass somebody um, when you don't even say their name. It wasn't until the last like the last few TikToks that were put up on that channel that her name was even mentioned. And then to try to imply that simply because other people comment on those posts or on those TikToks, those videos, that she's directing them to do it. They're all, cahooting cahooters to gang up on Lauren, and that is some form of stalking. That's not how it works. That's just not how it works. It might have been uncomfortable, and yeah, I've acknowledged at least 11 billion times, but here's 11 billion and one. The TikTok that Christina made about Lauren's brother was wrong and foul, 100%. The end, that's all there is to it. It was wrong. She shouldn't have done it. She crossed a line from the other TikToks, which were petty, to foul in that with that TikTok. It was wrong. But yet that still doesn't rise to cyber stalking, because that's what we're really talking about here, right? Hey, Brandon, here's the point. Lauren is a news journalist and then came to YouTube about 10 years ago. And this is another issue. Lauren supposedly moved tables 3 times to get closer to Christina and then called the police. That is the way that it sounded from Joe Schmo, who is the person who took the photographs of Lauren and Grayson at the table, and then you can see Christina in the background taking a picture. That camera is not aimed at them at all. At all. You can see that from the picture. But he did get on Queen Bee's panel, and he did say that they moved the table. They moved closer. He said that. That's exactly what he said. That's a problem. That's a problem. And they were aware, the cops made them aware after the whole initial scene at CrimeCon, when they served Christina, that the hotel was not going to kick her out. She wasn't allowed to attend any of the CrimeCon Expo, stuff, but she could still be in the hotel and she could still be in the bar. And she was. And she did. But what Lauren presented, and all I can go off of is this is Lauren's evidence. These are the things that she listed in her declaration initially back in August to even get the stalking injunction in the first place. This was her evidence. We watched it all. We read it all. Even the cop in Boise who viewed the videos from the dinner table didn't think that it rose to the level of threatening or harassing. It's, she's not, Wendy Shea. She's not. This is a good point. I'm sure she isn't the only person on YouTube that gets things said to her, and some people actually get threats and harassed. They absolutely do. When you put listen, I'm not saying that when you put yourself out in public that you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Okay? What I'm saying is if you put yourself out on YouTube, even people that comment on the videos after the fact or the lives after the fact, if you comment publicly, somebody else can come along underneath your comment and respond to your comment. When this live ends, anybody I keep my comment section open. If I didn't want people to comment on it, YouTube gives me the option to turn the comments off. I could do that, but I don't. I just feel like this was a waste of resources in this capacity. I'm not saying that there's no avenues open to Lauren, but a stalking and a protection order wasn't it. And certainly not all the other sanctions she wanted. All right, here we go. It always takes a second for the audio to catch up and play.
Now, as to the work environment, it does sound like the parties may attend similar court hearings. I'm assuming court hearings. Is there any other public buildings where they need to be in the same spot?
Well, the accompanying press conferences and other kind of public places is what we're talking about.
Okay. As to those, I do think that this order is not intended to stop Ms. from working.
So I would object to that characterization, Your Honor.
Which part?
Sorry, the respondent doesn't work at courthouses. She's not a criminal investigator. My client is. So the representation that they need to appear in public, they may appear in public places based on her employment is not accurate. She has no employment in this field.
I think it's not disputed that they're public places. It may be in dispute whether they consider her to be a professional in this field. We certainly do call that a disputed issue, but it's not disputed that they're public places.
What does she do?
She takes photos.
She's a photographer.
Yeah.
She's not a photographer for the court?
Hold on.
Sorry?
Well, that's true. She's a freelance photographer, and she also is, like everybody, trying to make her way in this true crime industry.
Well, and I have freelance for 8.
Okay, that's right. She does freelance work for some national news outlets you would have heard about.
Okay. Yeah, let me address the public place argument first. That doesn't fly because stalking injunctions often cover public places. However, it does sound like she has a right to be there and she's got a purpose for being there. And if that's the case, if she's there with a purpose, then she can be there. The order is that they will keep, that she will keep her distance because Ms. Mathias, she's not a respondent, there isn't a counter one. So Ms. is required to keep her distance from the petitioner. Now, it's hard to say exactly how far that is because it may be different if we've got a media scrum or something and we've been taking photos, then it may be closer. But she certainly cannot be right next to her. She certainly can't be making faces to her. She can't be making gestures. She can't be making comments. None of that can occur. If they're in a courtroom, like a courtroom here today, I'd expect that they would be on opposite sides of the courtroom. So I expect to receive a modified temporary civil stalking injunction with those changes incorporated.
There it was, the modified. Now, this is really important because as I was listening to this, I was thinking back over the evidence that we've seen. And one of the things that Lauren and Grayson continue to allege in everything, in the Henderson police report, in the Boise police report, in their multiple declarations, is that Christina is working in concert with everybody else, with all these other women, okay? And that it reached a tipping point in Boise at the Koberger sentencing hearing, okay? But Lauren has been feeling unsafe for months going back to April's when all this started, according to Lauren, right? Well, if that's the case, then why in the I don't give a rat's fat kneecap how crammed, small, whatever limited seating. There is no way that I would go over and ask to sit next to somebody I am going to hours later include in a police report where I say that I feel threatened and unsafe. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think what Lauren is alleging, and she doesn't, obviously she speaks through her attorney in this hearing, but she said it on her lives. I think it's in the response video that she considers these women, including Christina, trial tourists. They just go and attend trials just 'cause It's ridiculous. This is embarrassing, honestly. All right, let's finish this up.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm sorry. There is actually one more place where the online stuff and the social media, way down at the bottom with other relief sought, is actually where I was quoting from earlier, where it says that she's not allowed to post relating to or referencing petitioner. And that's, I think, one of the things that we need to clarify.
Where it says respondent shall cease and desist any and all online activity and communications relating to or referring to the petitioner, her immediate family and extended family members.
Is that portion subject to the court's clarification on the other bit that you just made?
Yeah. Now I think I was clear before that I expect her not to post anything necessarily that she's running a risk. If she posts something negative about her, that's something she can, I guess, theoretically do. But she needs to be careful in walking that line.
Is there any clarification you could give us on what might be qualified as negative?
Well, if she's threatening her, again, we have to go back to the purpose of a stalking injunction. If she's threatening her, if there's a harassment that would cause emotional harm. I mean, all of us run the risk that somebody's going to say something bad about us. Whether that turns into harassment I think that's a high bar.
Is there any evidence?
Let me be clear on this, Mr. Dale. This civil stalking injunction was in no way meant to silence what Ms. is doing. And I want to be very clear on that. And any permanent stalking injunction will not be for that purpose. That is not what a stalking injunction is for.
I guess I'm looking for clarity on what it is the court is basing its ruling on when it says what she does or what she's doing. And
what do you mean?
So the respondent isn't a true crime investigator. She's a photographer. She has an art channel on Instagram. She has separate media accounts, social media accounts that discuss solely the flaws of my client, to air them, to cause her harassment. I guess I'm not sure that, but we haven't had a chance to provide all that evidence yet, so we'll do that at the next hearing. My concern.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you haven't had a chance to provide all that evidence yet? Come on. You should have had that. I don't understand this at all. Like, I mean, I know that there was the way that this happened. They were only given an hour, and the respondent had witnesses that came from out of town. So they allowed the respondent to put those witnesses on the stand to be cross-examined by the petitioner, Lauren, her attorney. But I mean, if the evidence that you've already submitted to the court is any indication of evidence of the type of evidence that you intend to introduce later, it's a big, fat nothing burger. She wasn't threatened. She wasn't harassed at all. Nobody was talking about this. Nobody but Lauren knew that this was for her. Or nobody but Lauren knew that that's who this woman was talking about in the TikToks. And the 3, maybe 4 people, I'll give it 5 people that commented under those TikToks. There was, if this woman had intended to because this is what they're claiming, not just harass by herself, right? But get others to also harass Lauren. Then she would have used her name. She wouldn't have put the face, the clown emoji over the picture where they're all together. And Lauren's face is covered by a clown emoji. So ridiculous. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And this is the last time I'm covering this on this channel. I mean, unless something else comes out or happens that's important.
No, is that based on just the testimony today,
Hold on. I just want to say that unless something else comes out that's important, I think we've covered it. I think you guys, you're going to make up your own minds. You're either going to agree or that this was stalking, or you're going to say, no, it wasn't stalking. It was but you can also have a third option. No, it wasn't stalking, but it was something else. And she has other legal avenues that she could pursue. Will she be successful? I don't know. I don't know the future. And if I did know the future or could predict the future, I'd use it to pick the winning lottery numbers, not to see if Lauren is going to be successful in other legal ventures.
that has not been challenged or refuted, and so there is still an outstanding concern that the activity we've alleged that is happening online and in person and to other contacts has not been refuted properly and is not.
Yeah, and I'm not making a final ruling. I'm making a temporary order.
So if the order is to remove this online protection from specific directed, harassment, embarrassing things that would cause my client emotional distress, I guess that's what I'm looking for clarification on. Is the court withdrawing that based on something it saw today? Because there isn't anything we've seen today that would refute.
Well, I think what the court is looking at is we're trying to get more clarity than a one-sided order that was initially signed. That was based on one-sided information.
Sure. And we don't mean to interfere with her public or First Amendment rights. But to the extent she has made specific channels titled Objection, Your Honor, that are about my client, we would ask that protections or restrictions on those accounts be held in place until we can have a full hearing. That seems to be
directly a freedom of speech issue.
It is directly a freedom of speech issue. The things that, aside from the brother one, the one about her brother, that one, is something different. Like, I think that that could be defamation or defamation per se. I'm not an attorney. I don't know. But that's the one out of the other things that, and the thing is, they do talk about Instagram a little bit, right? But they really reference TikTok the most. So I have to imagine that that by and large, what Lauren is angry about, upset about, is the TikTok, not really the Instagram. That the majority of this took place on the TikToks. I watched those TikToks. I mean, it's not like they were nice. You could definitely tell that the friendship door was closed permanently. But that's all it was. Petty, yes. But not stalking and not harassment. And by the way, why would you ever...
They're directed at my client.
Right, which is a freedom of speech issue.
Yeah, she's allowed to not like your client. She's allowed to say, in her opinion, that, Lauren is a clown. She's allowed to say that. I'm allowed to say that. I had another point to make, and now I just forgot it. Dang it. Hold on. This just went too far. The court, I'm not saying the court shouldn't have been involved, but getting a civil stalking injunction, this should not have happened.
You can say things about people. We may not like them, but we can say things. What she's prohibited from doing, let me be clear, because you're asking for clarity. She cannot threaten. She can't threaten her physically or her family. She cannot defame her. If there's a defamation, then that's something that's illegal and would fit under a stalking injunction. I think that's what we're looking at, is that she can't do.
I can represent to you that there are many, many videos that defame my client.
Okay.
So I would ask that temporary protection be in place until such time as we can review, the court can review the defamation nature.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm amending it, saying that she won't threaten. We're going to be very clear online. She won't threaten. She won't defame. Okay?
So it was amended because it was unclear. Anytime you change anything, it's an amendment. So I think what I think earlier we were talking about whether it was clarified or whether it was amended. I think it was clarifying. He did clarify it and therefore modified it at the same time, which is and amended it. That's what I should say. Amended it.
Whether online or otherwise.
Well, she's not talking to her in person. I expect zero communication.
Yeah.
As far as she can't talk to her, she can't email her, she can't text her. Mr. Dunkelbarger, I want to be clear, she can't do that through a third party. She can't send a message through a third party. There is to be no communication there. The other parts of the civil stalking injunction remain intact as well. I don't want her near her house.
Does the 500 feet specifically remain?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, as to her house. Now, like I said, the only exception to the 500 feet is if they're in a public space that they cannot be 500 feet apart. And then I expect them to be as far apart as reasonably possible. That's language I want in there, Mr. Dunkelberger.
Yes, Your Honor.
But otherwise, that is 500 feet. So Mr. Dunkelberger, if they're in a mall, your client needs to move away 500 feet. If they're in a restaurant and if your client comes in second, then your client needs to not go in and needs to leave.
What if it's the other way around? What if she was there first?
Well, why would your client go in if she's worried?
Maybe
she's worried about her health if she knows her there.
That's the key. If she didn't know.
She did know. She did know. At CrimeCon, she knew. She absolutely did know. She absolutely did know.
She was there. But the respondent says, well, I was here first. What should my client expect to do in that?
Leave.
Well, I would expect if your client is worried about her safety, when the reason we got a stalking injunction, and she goes in there, she would leave. Now, if by chance we've got Miss McCullough is in there, I'm assuming your client's not going to go over and approach her. I'm assuming Miss McCullough is not going to approach her and that she will leave, provided she's finished her meal. But I expect that there would be no communication, there would be no, again, facial gestures, anything of that. They'd finish their meal, they'd go on their way. We got to be careful how we're using the tools of the law in this courtroom. And I expect the parties to use common sense. Okay, Mr. Dale, anything I missed on you that you want else addressed?
Let me review the language, Your Honor. Oh, these clarifications you're making, I assume they apply also to the other protected individuals, her husband, her son, coworkers, etc.
Went through that, yep.
Okay, I think we did. Professional associates, other known professional associates of my client. Can we retain that language?
They're not covered under this list, so no, so you can have contact with them. What I did prohibit is third-party communication. She can't send a message through one of them.
Understood.
See, that right there tells it all. All right. What she wanted to stop was one of the allegations that Lauren made is that Christina is seeking out business associates of hers and telling them Lauren is no good. Or if she has, text messages where Lauren has talked some smack, I guess she's sending screenshots of those, right? That's the allegation. I'm not saying she did it. Allegedly, right? That's the allegation. Lauren is trying to get such a broad, all-encompassing. She can't talk to anybody ever about me, about anything ever at any time. That's not what a stalking injunction is for. What a stalking injunction is for is, let's say, me and Neat, let's say I get a stalking injunction against Neat Noodle. Okay. Neat Noodle cannot go to the young black economist and say, hey, tell Jen Liu I said you suck. That's third party harassment. You can't do that. Okay. What's not third party harassment is what Lori Hellis did. After finding out what happened down and witnessing some of it, what went down at CrimeCon, she went to her own YouTube channel and said what she said with her chest. Okay. That's not third party harassment. Now, if she would have ended that live with saying, by the way, Christina says, now for real, the friendship door is closed. Just wanted you to know, Lauren, that could be construed as third-party contact. That's what's prohibited. This doesn't mean that, you have carte blanche at, let's say, another trial to waltz on over there to the bailiff and tell the court and tell the court, I have a civil stalking injunction, throw her out. That's not what that is. She never showed up at her house. She's never been to her house. In fact, in one of the text messages, she says, what are you going to do next? Show up at my house? Because she's never even been to her house.
With respect to,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Finish up.
With respect to the online posts, I think that's the biggest concern for my client. In addition to defaming statements, is there any other clarification the court can give on what would constitute a defamatory statement? So that there's no argument. So there's no like.
What's legally defined as defamation? It's got to fit the legal definition.
Okay. What about harassment?
I don't know what that's going to qualify as, and I can't get into everything. I would say, Ms. MacArthur, I'd be careful in the way you do that. But again, if she's just saying negative stuff, this is not, again, a stalking injunction is not a remedy for shutting down speech that a person doesn't like somebody saying about them. And it seems like that's what you're trying to do in this case.
Well, again, Your Honor.
Okay. We all heard it, right? It seems like that's what you're trying to do in this case. He said in this case, not with respect to TikTok, not with respect to YouTube or any other social media. He said in this case. There was no larger conversation. They were going back and forth, asking for clarity on the terms, harassment. What should my client do if she shows up at a restaurant and the respondent is there already? Well, leave. What about a work function? They covered all of that. There's no way to misconstrue that unless you assert that that's not what he said. That's not what he was talking about, that it's part of a larger conversation. Then you definitely misconstrued what the judge said, in my opinion.
I would argue that we're not asking to restrict her speech. She can still go anywhere else.
That is speech. Online speech is every bit as protected as anywhere else.
Some forms of speech, like threats and defamation, are not protected.
And that's what I put specifically.
And if that's the best we can do, like that's most clear we can be, I understand. I just thought I'd ask for any additional clarification you can give to be instructive to both parties.
Yep. Okay. I think I've been clear on that.
You have, Your Honor.
Anything from your side?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, with that, we'll plan on seeing you. We've got into 2 witnesses. I will just save the time. Outside of the parties themselves, If you've got out-of-state witnesses, they can attend virtually unless they're going to be presenting hard evidence. In other words, documents or some other type of physical evidence. If they're going to be doing that, I want them here because
All of this is irrelevant because that hearing never took place because everything was removed. Now, there you are. Yes, Holly, details are everything. Everything. You know, and they wanted Christina not to be able to talk pretty much at all. I mean, anybody can yes, the order is dropped now. It's over. Lauren withdrew. So it's over now. And so is this stream. I'm tired. It's almost midnight here. I'm gonna go to bed. But I think we've covered it. I think that there's really nothing more to say on this other than it's I am annoyed that anybody would ever try to weaponize the courts for some ridiculous, online beef. That's it. That's what this was. As uncomfortable as some of the things she said were, that's what this was. It doesn't rise to the level of a stalking injunction. That's ridiculous. All right. You guys have a great night. I am going to work on the new Ed Gein thing for you guys to premiere it tomorrow night. But I won't be live tomorrow night because I'm taking my granddaughter trick-or-treating. So if I don't see you guys at the premiere, have a great rest of your night and a happy Halloween. Bye.